Good morning, everyone. If you could please take your seats. While doing that, I'll introduce myself. My name is Monica Figa. I'm a climate and just transition energy expert of the Energy Secretary. We're very happy and grateful to the Ukrainian delegation to host us today. And we're starting off fresh on a Thursday morning. About carbon pricing, one of the hottest topics here at the COP. We had great progress on Article 6, so it's definitely a timely thing to be talking about. And without due delay, I would like to invite the first speaker, Mr. Oleh Bondarenko, to give a few welcoming remarks. Please, Mr. Bondarenko.
Good morning. Dear colleagues, dear conference participants, dear guests, I'm pleased to welcome you to this meeting dedicated to discussing carbon pricing as a tool for responding to climate changes to not only the EU, but also neighboring countries. Responding to climate challenges is becoming more relevant for all of us. Ukraine is actively participating in joint efforts in this area. In particular, we are constantly working to improve the procedures and mechanisms for pricing carbon emissions. On the EU neighboring countries, Ukraine was one of the first to introduce CO2 emission taxation, demonstrating a clear desire to comply with the best global practices in the fight against climate change. We are currently actively working on preparing proposal for adjusted emissions tax rates to ensure transparent and fair pricing of carbon emissions. Right now, we are faced with the task of following the functioning of the monitoring, reporting, and verification MRV system. Unfortunately, due to full-scale invasion, many report was suspended, but Ukraine is making every effort to restore the system as soon as possible. Currently, not only 400 enterprises out of more than 900 registered ones are voluntarily reporting. It is important to note that in October 2024, the Parliament of Ukraine adopted the law on the basic principles of state climate policy. This one defines our strategic vision and provides a powerful impetus for the creation of national emission trading system in Ukraine. For the implementation of the national emission trading system is largely due to the new condition of the European cross-border carbon adjustment mechanism CBAM, which will directly affect the Ukrainian economy. The implementation of CBAM pushes us to establish real for carbon that meets the requirements of European markets. Without this, our producers risk significant losses in competitiveness, which can slow down the development and curb innovation processes. In addition, the funds received from quota trading should be directed to decarbonizing the Ukrainian economy, creating new jobs and supporting environmentally friendly technologies. This for us not only to meet proper environmental standards, but will also make the Ukrainian economy more sustainable and competitive in the long term. These are exactly the issues that we are currently working on this and which I propose to discuss in our discussion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Bondarenko. I'll then like to welcome all of you, and especially Maciej Ziegler from the for Climate and Energy Analysis, in short, CAKE, so very appetizing, to increase our appetite for carbon pricing. So I would welcome you to start your presentation. You're welcome to stand here.
Good morning. As Monica Thank you for introducing me. I thank you, Ukraine, for hosting us in your pavilion to make the site event. I'm going to introduce you into the topic. It is based on our Center for, in the Center for Climate and Energy Analysis, a research team that operates the National Center for Emissions in Poland. We are focusing on investigating, exploring impacts, economic impacts on all measures, these measures in European Union, with special focus on carbon pricing. Sorry, I will be making signs to the colleague that is changing slides. Can we move? Can you move the presentation forward? Let me start with some data provided yearly by the World Bank in its reports on state and trends of carbon pricing. This map, it is just a picture showing that carbon pricing, including both measures, emission trading or systems or carbon taxes, is becoming more and more popular and recognized by countries, regions as an efficient tool, efficient measure to drive emission reductions. I'm not going to explore deeply that picture. It is just to show you that actually key economies, significant parts of key economies are introduced, have already those measures. The context is that since we are here at COP, we are thinking about extending, integrating, linking carbon pricing, especially emission trading schemes, into perhaps in the future one big carbon pricing system, emission system global. That comes also with Article 6 of Paris Agreement. At the moment, it is not so optimistic, not so promising, since prices, approaches to those systems are quite different. We used to think that European Union is a leader in implementing emission system for carbon emissions. That's correct if we can price the highest one, but we would apply measure based on the coverage of emissions. Since 2021, China is a leader because emission trading scheme, Chinese emission trading covers more than Europe. One, however, the coverage the country coverage is and sectoral coverage is smaller than in the European Union. Another type of carbon pricing measure is carbon tax. And again, some good examples. Good means that high tax rates that boost emission reductions, but of those taxes, so the number of taxes is significant, more than 30 in the world. Incentive function is so it's not so huge. Go ahead, please. There is something like a high-level commission on carbon. So it's that support opinion after many years of COP's climate policies, national policies, regional policies. We know that regardless our willingness, regardless our narrative towards achieving climate policy goals, effectiveness of the process is not very impressive. According to economists, carbon pricing is the most effective event in terms of costs way to achieve a reduction. But if we look at this, we can see carbon price in dollars per ton of CO2 equivalent, and the recommended level of those prices. This area in the middle shows necessary price, carbon price necessary to achieve 2 great target according to agreement. If we like to think 1.5, we should rise carbon price towards those $200-300 per ton. At the moment, European Union in EU ETS, we have something like 60, 70, 80 market decides euros per ton. And as you can see, sorry, I have no pointer, so I show you by my hand. EU ETS is still below this recommended level of price. You know that in the European Union, we are claiming a lot about high carbon prices, but actually we should have even higher prices. Due at the Center of Climate and Energy, our simulations towards future status, future picture of EU ETS show that actually we're approaching prices even higher than this middle area. Usually we talk about efforts because of implementing such measures, but time we forget some positive aspects, positive impacts of carbon markets in general. Revenues. Ask me a question or this even why emission trading systems are better than others. This is part of this answer. Market mechanisms can generate higher prices and consequently higher revenues. So we are not only paying for emissions, we are generating resources that can be used for investments and in climate policy. That is how, so it is data. Before I go to picture of carbon pricing and possible consequences of linking carbon prices, extending carbon prices, or just emission trading schemes, I guess that we are interested in that issue. Order adjustment mechanism was already in the communication presented by President von der Leyen in 2019 in December in this communication, and it was already announced. So it is not surprising. We made some estimations. About economic impacts of something that. So here is the example. I'm not going to answer the question whether it is significant or not. Look at the scale. We can see just changes in imports, changes in prices in the European Union, and allocation of those changes, allocation of those impacts among EU states. So definitely, that measure creates an impact. Question whether it is big or small. Answer to this question is not clear. If we see that changes in imports in the European Union or to the European Union are as high as 3% sectors, of course, economists, decision makers care about that. However, for the bigger picture, for the economy, significant consequences. That impact in imports is something what we want in the European Union, because we want to our workplaces, our production. Countries outside the European Union could not be happy that I wouldn't support that opinion. Let me say that it is just CBAM, Carbon Border Adjustment Mechanism, should be recognized as a short or at least medium-term solution before we approach to this moment where many countries, I wouldn't say all, but most significant economies will implement measures with similar level of pressure on emitters. Please. Short reflection. This is my subjective opinion, but usually I'm approaching positively to carbon measures because I see those advantages, not only costs. Yeah. In the European Union, I expect what we want to have. Increase in production, especially in this energy and emission-intensive sectors. Reducing emissions within the European community and also beyond the community. Our models, our analysis show that even such measures like consumption, macroeconomic measure that is important in evaluating economies and possible impacts. Not impressive, but we can experience not decline in that. Some negative effects of this include higher prices and purely economic consequence that efficient use of resources in terms of investments, so capital use in the long run can be a big thank you. The part of this presentation that includes some results of our analysis could happen due to this project that we are implementing. Vision on impact on improvement of the EU ETS working by 2050. Please, next slide. Our challenges include those developments, those changes in carbon pricing measures in the European Union and outside European Union, in the world. The assumption in my message here is that